Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Revocation, New Gods, New Masters, out September 26 on Metal Blade Records. The album has 9 tracks, 44 minutes in length, and this is the band's 9th full-length studio album. They are an American technical death metal band. When it comes to the design of this record, this is an album that offers an overall experience that is very concise, very compact, but it never becomes dense. And I think that's an important aspect, not just of the overall design, but of the individual songs themselves. It's a record that breathes well, that the sound breathes really well. The songs feel very open, considering how heavy and how brutal the album is. That's not always the case with records like this. It's very easy to allow that heaviness to turn into density, and then it becomes a lot more difficult to see the forest from the trees. This album, song in and song out, always offers a clear idea of what the track is and what the elements within that track are creating. They did a wonderful job grouping these songs in a way that you always feel like you're getting a different experience, song in and song out. There's not too many tracks that have a lot of similarities back to back. This also reinforces that fluidity of the album. When you look at also the cameos, the guest appearances that this record have, those songs are also spread out throughout the entire album. That also helps to emphasize the differences and uniquenesses while keeping the spinal cord of the record, which is its overall heaviness, intact. As far as sound is concerned, this is a versatile record because while at its core you have technical death metal, you also have other elements at play, either be thrash or groove. This album offers a lot of those ideas. It's just the way they're mixed into the sound that allows the record to not have that density, to allows the record to be a little bit more manageable and a little bit more palpable to the listener. Songs where the technical elements and even the death metal elements drop a little bit, you're going to see the others rise up. So you never really lose that spinal cord of technical death metal out of the sound of this record. You just allow other elements to come in and make it a little bit more robust. And that to me is a great formula for an album like this, because it always allows the record to feel very brutal and very heavy, but at the same time very manageable from a sound standpoint. Another element of the sound that I thought was really interesting with this record is the bass. You gotta notice that the bass does pop a lot in the mix. Now the bass doesn't necessarily come across the way it would come across in a more pure form of technical death metal. I'm thinking about a band, for example, like Beyond Creation, where the bass plays a huge role in defining what that technical death metal sound is all about. On this record, I found that the bass did pop a lot throughout. It's very predominant in the mix, but it doesn't have necessarily that technical aspect to it, or at least it doesn't add that aspect on its own to the sound of the songs. It reinforces it here and there, but I felt more often than not that added to the bottom of the song, creating a little bit more bandwidth to the track and even adding some groove elements to the way the songs come across. The bass on this record, more so than helping with the technical side, it really helps with the drums, emphasize the overall volume, size, and definition of the songs. The album has a great drum sound and it has a great bass sound to go along with it. Outside of those two, you obviously have the guitars. This album is very guitar focused, very guitar driven, and this allows those influences to come in and really dictate where it's going to go. On the technical side, you're going to find the guitars to be prolific as far as the delivery of those technical elements, but I never felt on this album that they went too far and almost overdoing the technical side of the sound and of the guitar playing. It's moderate to elevated at best, but in a way that still allows the heaviness to come through and allows the brutality of the songs to be better defined. The technicality of the tracks never takes away from the brutality of the songs, it rather emphasizes. Everything about this record is emphasizing the heaviness, not necessarily taking away from it. Once you get down to the vocals, the consistency of David's delivery is really important. It's perhaps one of the most consistent elements of the record. That doesn't mean it's a one-size-fits-all approach. I still found them to have different nuances, different style deliveries from song to song depending on the design and sound of the individual tracks. Obviously, having guest vocalists like Travis from Decapitation, that also plays a role in how the overall vocals are going to be perceived. But I honestly felt like the guest appearances on this record vocally are really important in order to better define the songs in which they're in. And it's almost like those songs were created with that person in mind, and it's almost like they created a song, and I'm going to use the one with Travis as an example. That track really feels more like a Cattle Decapitation track with a Revocation spin, almost like Revocation was doing a cover of a Cattle Decapitation song. So if that's your idea for the track, to create something in that vein, having the singer on that track really emphasizes all of those elements and brings them more into the forefront, which then allows the song to feel more unique in the overall design of the record, which definitely is the case with this album and with those songs. Overall, you have a very multifaceted record here. It has a consistency of heaviness that's perhaps one of the main consistencies of the album, and I think it's the main focus of the record, to show that you can offer all of these different ideas, all of these different technical elements, create a very open sounding album, and take nothing away from how heavy the record is. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with New Gods, New Masters. This is the opening track, the title track, and it has a great drum sound. I really like it. I think it's the perfect sound to be a partner to the overall cold and very dark guitar riff that this track delivers. It's one of those songs that has a lot of old school death metal present within it. It has some technical elements too, but I felt like the technical elements added more of a spice. They added more of a nuance. They don't define the song. The song has a lot more traditional death metal elements in it than anything else, and this allows things for the listener to feel a lot more simpler, a lot more straight through. It's all about heaviness and overpowering the senses with that same heaviness while still allowing it to be manageable. Then you have Dystopian Vermin. This track really emphasizes the bass sound that is predominant throughout the entire record. It's a death metal track with a lot of hardcore. This song really felt to me at times like a slam dance hardcore style track, and that allows the song overall to be more open and to feel groovier while still feeling very heavy at the same time. The bass pops, like I said, very well defined on this track. It softens the song a little bit. It adds to that hardcore element of the track, and that allows also the guitars to be a little bit more predominant, but also be a little bit more driven and a little bit more forward thinking, infusing some groove and some hardcore elements amongst the overall design of the track. The vocals definitely match the experience of the sound, and it's one of those songs that, while it's as heavy as all of the others, it definitely presents itself in a much different light. Last but definitely not least, Data Corpse. This track is one of those where you can hear everything. The heaviness and the overall brutality of the song is unfazed by how clear the sound is on this track and how much you can hear the impacts of bass, drums, and guitars, and how they all cooperate and work really well in the same room. So that makes the song super breathable, and it's a perfect example of how good the overall production on this album is, that allows all of these elements to coexist. You could almost hear the different layers that this track has. This track has a ton of layers, and you can hear them all, and you can still feel how big and impactful the song is. It's a great track. Overall, amazing guitar sound on this song throughout. It's one of those songs that you really become mesmerized by the overall guitar playing and guitar sound that it offers. It's, to me, the main focal point of the track, outside of the fact that it's a very big sounding song, very heavy, but still so well structured, so well delivered. This is it, Revocation with New Gods, New Masters, once again out September 26th on Metal Blade Records. Hit me up in the comment section, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, guys.